Fleet's Journal. Werewolves. I'm not sure what disturbs me more, the fact that the Circle are all werewolves, or the possibility that my presence here could destroy them all. The Silver Hand are not what they seem. That much is clear. I fear that this elaborate trap may not have been set to ensnare the companions, but to entrap me. Farkas seems convinced that these zealots are bent on the destruction of werewolves. However, he is not aware of the cloud of threat and darkness that stalks me. He revealed his secret to me, changing form before my eyes. This revelation was not calculated. I don't believe Farkas is capable of calculation, which indicates it was a choice made out of necessity. I, in turn, revealed to him my secret, the secret of the Dragonborn. Even had he not understood the significance of the wall, the shouts were a dead giveaway. The gift of the shout allowed us to survive the battle in Dustman's Cairn. So what happens now? Following this experience, I have great respect for the man. He fought well, showed no fear, and has displayed no judgment or arrogance like so many of his shield brothers. I can only hope that I have earned his respect and that he will stand in my defense and vouch for my honor. My sword arm grows stronger with each passing day. I can feel my body slowly returning to me. There must be no delay if I am to defend myself from Father's minions. I hope that Brother is ready for what comes. I have done all that I can to convince him of the urgency, but he is a closed book. I can no more read the intentions of Cimmerian than I can the wind. Why must I go over it again? Because you have still not made anything approaching a compelling argument. You are testing my patience, brother. We have been speaking in circles for hours now. Then convince me. Explain to me again what could possibly be more important than our future and our freedom. Because, brother, what you call freedom is nothing more than the selfish pursuit of your own whims. There is nothing of importance or consequence in it. The will of Sithis is my only pledge. Sithis and his aims alone. Your sense of personal freedom is frivolous at best. You are so entrapped in your devotion that you cannot see the bigger picture. Focusing on freeing ourselves of these many entrapments, it serves to ensure that we're able to act independently on our other objectives. There is no greater path to true sight than one of devotion, brother. You would do well to hold your tongue. You make my case for me, fool. There is a reason it is called blind devotion, brother. You are so wrapped up in your worship of the void you cannot see the real threats beating down our door. Sithis will provide. Sithis will reveal the path. Perhaps Sithis is revealing the path even now. Perhaps it is freedom, you obstinate fool. Or were you expecting him to write you a letter? You are frustrating to speak to, brother. Listen to me for just a moment. Allow me to make my case.
Very well. You may proceed.
I was there. You were not. I felt the pull of the amulet. I could feel its weight on my soul, as if my very spirit had been shackled. The power in that device was meant to control.
Of course it was. I may not have been in control at the time, but I felt it as well. It was the power of suggestion. It was my contribution of power that allowed you to overcome its pull.
No, brother, it was more than that. This device knew me, as if it were created specifically to control me and no one else. Its power was tailored.
If that were true, we should not have been able to defeat it. Your argument is flawed.
No, it is not. Do you see? It was expecting me, but what it found was us.
What you are saying is that Mother saved us once again.
Exactly, brother. Well, it does not make us immune. Mother's gift allows us to resist its foul magic. It's magic that has been designed for the sole purpose of controlling us.
I understand this, brother, but that has nothing to do with the will of Sithis.
No, it has everything to do with it. If you are controlled by Senshin, how will you exercise the will of the Dreadfather?
We resisted control once. We shall do it again.
But at what cost? 2 of the burned were killed. 2 of the most capable fighters I have ever seen simply snuffed out, and I was nearly overcome in the process. Father will stop at nothing in his pursuit until we are controlled or eliminated. We must turn our eyes to him now, before it's too late.
I cannot be defeated. The Dreadfather's hand is upon my shoulder.
Gods! You are so... How is it possible you were ever part of me? He has Dremora. Obviously, he's made a pact with something beyond our plane. How long do you really think it will take him to come up with a better, more powerful solution to find us? You said yourself that you feel the loss of control over the Dark Brotherhood. Well, you are the listener. If you're not in control, who is? Whose power eclipses that of the God's damned listener?
I cannot explain this. I do not have enough information.
What I am saying to you is that we need to focus all of our efforts on assuring our independence from Senshin, at all costs. If his plan succeeds, we will both find ourselves lapdogs to that sick bastard, and there will be no end to our suffering. Everything I cherish, everything you have worked for, will be for nothing.
I understand your argument, brother. It is compelling, but what you fail to understand is that the will of Sithis is legion. Father's plan is doomed to fail. Sithis will provide the solution, the defense, and the weapons required to oppose this threat.
Yes, brother, I do understand. What you fail to see is that he has already provided what you need. We, together, are the defense and the weapons. We, together, are the solution, you and I. But we have to act.
Brothers and sisters of the Circle, today we welcome a new soul into our mortal fold. This man has endured, has challenged, and has shown his valor. Who will speak for him?
I stand witness to the courage of the soul before us.
Would you raise your shield in his defense?
I would stand at his back, that the world might never overtake us.
And would you raise your sword in his honor?
It stands ready to meet the blood of his foes.
And would you raise a mug in his name?
I would lead the song of triumph as our mead hall reveled in his stories.
Then the judgment of this circle is complete. His heart beats with fury and courage that have united the companions since the days of the distant green summers. Let it beat with ours, that the mountains may echo and our enemies may tremble at the call.
It
shall
shall
be
be
so.
Well, boy, you're one of us now. I trust you won't disappoint.
I will try not to. Is it true the companions are
I
werewolves?
see you've been allowed to know some secrets before your appointed time. No matter. Yes, it's true. Not every companion, though. Only members of the Circle all share the blood of the beast. Some take to it more than others.
And you?
Well, I grow old. My mind turns towards the horizon, to Sovngarde. I worry that Shor won't call an animal to glory as he would a true Nord warrior. Living as beasts draws our souls closer to the Daedric Lord Hircine. Some may prefer an eternity in his hunting grounds, but I crave the fellowship of Sovngarde.
So you're looking for a cure?
Yes, but it's no easy matter. But you don't need to share the worries of an old warrior. This day is to rejoice in your bravery. And speak to Yorland if you want a better weapon than whatever that is.
My blade is fine. Werewolves. Werewolves are a question left for tomorrow. For now, I am tired. Very tired.
The so-called prison in Riften leaks like one of their fish nets. This is what happens when you let thieves run your town. The prisoners just walk right out. One of them's escaped, and you're going to find that coward. At this point, they don't care what happens to him, and neither do I. Best to just kill him and be done with it.
I've heard you may actually be stronger than you look. Perhaps we can hunt together someday.
Looking to do some hunting? Avoid Brittleshin Pass to the southwest.
Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I'm the CouchWarrior, and you are watching Featherstone, an Aranis Arcana story featuring Fleet Featherstone, the arcane archer assassin, and so much more. We have been given a task by Skior to track down and eliminate an escaped criminal in Riften. So, that's what we are off to do.
You tried mercenary work? It might suit you.
No, I'm a member of the Companions, and I've never been a mercenary in my life. So off we go. Well, the cat seems to be out of the bag with regard to Fleet's identity, which I think makes sense. Even if you could make the argument that Farkas would have been unable to determine what was going on at the word wall, there should have been no mistaking what was going on during the battle when Fleet was shouting. Something that he did at least 4, maybe 5 times during that battle, to put those Death Lords off balance so he could get done what he needed to get done. In a way, the Unrelenting Force shout ended up being critical to their survival in that battle. And, well, it might have been difficult to discern a transference of power at the word wall. It would have been very difficult to come to any conclusion about other than the fact that this was a shout when Fleet was doing so during that battle. However, in his journal entry, Fleet was speculating about what would Farkas do. He doesn't believe that, Farkas is capable of lying. He doesn't believe that Farkas would tell a lie about what happened, but was questioning whether or not Farkas would stand up for him. And obviously, Farkas did. In some way, he and Fleet have struck up some kind of relationship built out of mutual respect. That's good.
Hello there, fellow traveler.
So, I think, when 2 individuals go through a battle such as that, it makes sense, that there would be a bond formed. And so that is a good sign. He has been accepted by the Circle and inducted into the Companions. So he's still a whelp. He's still the new guy. But he's officially a member of the Companions now. So that is a good sign. So now, we are off to go and perform this task. We're going to do some good here, hopefully. And interestingly enough, Fleet is, he's in a great position to do this mission. One thing we do know about Fleet is he is, pretty intimately familiar with the Riften area. He's come a long way with the Thieves Guild. He's built a lot of respect there with the Thieves Guild. And so forth. So he definitely knows his way around the territory. I think that makes him a great candidate for this particular mission. Let's grab a bite to eat here. All right. So we are going to take this mountain pass up through the highlands, cut across to Iverstad, and then make our way to Riften from there. And I think, Fleet's plan would be to go to the scene of the crime, Go to the jail where this individual escaped and see if he can track him from that point. So that is the plan right now. So, just wanted to say thank you to everybody for all of the support. Everybody who came out and really embraced Fleet's return. It was pretty incredible. I think, at this point, that video has been around for, well, let's see. I released it, as of the time I'm recording this, I released it less than a week ago. And, we're well up over 1,000 views on that episode, which to me is pretty incredible. There were 500 views. I basically published it, and then I went to bed, and when I woke up, there were more than 500 views on the thing. To me, that's just a great show of support, and I appreciate it all very, very much. So thank you so much for those of you who've embraced Fleet's return. And this is going to be, I think, a really fun adventure. I am looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to putting together a story for you that is hopefully engaging and entertaining and fun and thought-provoking and all that good stuff. There were some questions in the comments for that video, some of which I can answer, some that I can't. Will Fleet become a werewolf? This is one that comes up a lot, even though I hadn't done the Companion's quest to this point. And that is one of those questions that I just don't want to answer. It seems boring for me to answer that question in the comments, when in fact it would be more interesting to answer that in the story. One question that did come up, however, that I can answer is, what is the relative age of Fleet Featherstone? And I would say, if we were talking about, strictly human terms, we'd be looking at a guy who is in his mid to late 30s. Now, the character himself, he can be a little bit deceiving sometimes when you look at him. He looks older than he actually is, but that's because his hair is white and because he's got the long beard and stuff like that. But underneath all of that is a guy who's probably in his mid to late 30s. And I would say that puts him in his prime warrior years, where he still has some capability. He's still strong. He's still quick. But he also has age on his side, and he has the accumulated wisdom of years in battle. And we get to marry that wisdom up with athletic capability and skill. So I really think of him as being in his prime. If I think of other questions that I can answer along the way, I'll certainly do that. I would say don't hesitate to ask them. If I can't answer the question, I simply won't answer it. Okay? And if that's the case, I'll just let you know in the comments that, hey, that's a question I can't answer because I'm trying to preserve some mystery here. This is a story, after all. It's not a Let's Play. It's not a Let's Play where everyone's just along for the ride. It's a story. So there are lots of things that along the way that I'm going to withhold from you so that I can present the story as I want to, and I can also have twists, and I can have surprises, and I can have, other things like that that would be something you would associate with any other story you might take in, whether it's a book or a television show or a movie.
Got to keep my eyes open.
That kind of thing.
Damn dragons could swoop down at any time.
But feel free to ask. There's no harm in asking. If I can't answer, I'll just let you know. But also, having made this explanation, don't be offended if I don't answer. That would be bad. So, all right, let's pick it up a little bit here. So in the last episode, it came in at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and during that episode we heard from a number of different characters that were old favorites from the first part of this series. Of course, Nefay and Haldir among them. Whoa, it's getting messy here. Let's get it done. Ooh, man. All right, did I kill that wolf just standing up? Is that what's happening there? It is, isn't it? Oh, yeah. He got caught up in that mess. All right. Well, I reckon it makes sense for us to make a camp here. I think, as a wilderness guy and a huntsman, that was Fleet's bread and butter in Act 1. Would make a lot of sense for us to set up a camp here near these kills, and then we can take some time to skin them and do all that good stuff. So, let's have a look. Let's see where we're at with things here. Start out, we are going to build a fire. Let's harvest us some wood first. Oh, I don't even have a woodcutter's axe? What did I do with that? Well, that would make for a cold campsite. Let's gather some branches. Maybe we can start at least a small fire, enough to cook some dinner or something. Yeah, stay away from my kills. Let's see. Let's harvest one more time. We're going to need some more branches, I think. All right. Yeah, let's change the placement here. I really like building a fire in the tall grass. Let's get it out closer to the road, maybe. There we go. Try that. Okay, so we're going to make some wood shavings. Add branches. Oh, my animation's glitching. Yeah, we'll see how this works out. All right. So we can make this a flickering fire. That's good. And we've got some things that we can cook here. We'll keep it simple. We'll go ahead and roast a few things just to make sure that they keep. Fire this size, I don't think we could possibly roast all of it, but a good portion of it anyway. Okay. I guess the next thing to do would be to set up our tent. So let's do that next, huh? Let's get it off the road, however. That looks pretty good. Turn our camp light on. Eat a venison chop, drink some water. All right, and now we've got all these animals to deal with. Let's at least get them all field dressed before we go to bed. So I've introduced Hunterborn now. Pretty excited about that. Love Hunterborn. And it's a great mod for this character in particular, for Fleet. Given his background, what we've seen of him in the past, he was a pretty good huntsman. It's just been that, you know, in recent history, he's been so distracted by all the other drama going on in his life that he hasn't spent as much time out in the wilderness like he used to. Okay, let's get some sleep. All right. That's better. All right. Now these animals, I'm not going to butcher them for their meat. I am going to try to skin them though. We'll get the best pelts we can. I don't have a hunting knife yet. So, and I'm also have just started using the mod, so he's going to ruin some pelts here, but you got to start somewhere, right? Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to just pick up a hunting knife. That'll improve our chances. Either way, we can still take these pelts. Hey, there we go. We're learning something. We're getting better. We can take these pelts and we can still use them to make leather and leather strips and smithing materials. So that's good. All right. Let's pack it up. So we'll go ahead and leave the carcasses. Other animals will be able to make use of those carcasses since we left the meat on them. All right. Off we go.
Better come with us right now.
I don't care. Leave me alone.
I don't have time for this foolishness. Now come along quietly, and we won't have to get rough. Brother, just telling you.
I'm not going anywhere. Now back off before I do something drastic.
All right, what's he gonna do?
What? Oh, you're right. We've
Well, we're not going to skin this one. Maybe those Red Guard fellas will like it, or maybe that woman they're hassling. Maybe she would like to take it home to her family, or take whatever she can fit in her backpack. So, get the impression that in Skyrim, everybody's always, happy to jump on an opportunity for some meat, right?
Cleared out, I guess.
Well done.
There's been word of some trouble nearby.
Really?
I'm on my way to investigate.
All right. I hate to say I hope you find trouble, but it sounds like that's what you're looking for.
I'm on my way to investigate.
Great. I'm looking for trouble myself, actually. There were a lot of nice comments in the first video.
There's been word of some trouble nearby. I'm on my way to investigate.
Regarding the atmosphere of the videos, the atmosphere that I'm trying to create with the presentation and the music and the polish and that kind of thing. I really appreciate that. I'm working hard at these. You know what I mean? I'm trying to leverage everything I've learned in making these things and trying to make them an experience, an ethereal type of, I want them to just really feel atmospheric. So, oh shit. Man. Another one. The rift has bears, like Cyrodiil has rats. So, I just want to let you know I appreciate the comments, I appreciate the participation. And again, if there's anything that you want to know about Featherstone, if you want to see some of the other pieces that I put together about this, you want to see any of the written stuff from the wiki, images from the series, stuff like that, you can always go to featherstone.charactercrusade.com. You'll find that linked down in the notes. Check that out. There's a lot of stuff there to peruse. I'm doing it again. Mind yourself, there's a bear. I'll figure it out. Brother, your grip on authority grows thin. I can hear your thoughts. The weaker you become, the more I can hear. So let me help you. What of that? Your man wasn't here. I can feel it. Yes. This one is a mole. Even from the embrace, my brother, I can sense your quarry. It is near. The frightened rabbit runs. Yes, near indeed. I will help you, brother. Find what you seek. Escape. I can smell him. He is nearby. Here, brother. Take this gift from me. This has the smell of my brother all over it. But what does it mean? Is it a warning? Is it a clue? Is it more manipulation? And how does he do it? We are not supposed to be able to do this from the embrace. Does he guide me to this criminal, or does he lead me into a trap? His mind and his motivations are impossible to fathom. What is this? I have fought more bears this day than ever before. attack is inevitable. You can see it. Here it comes. Oh, this criminal has to be nearby. This task is unnerving me. My brother's involvement is inexplicable. Whoa. More bears. We end it. Come, beast. Drive it back. There. Could it be? The mist clearly guided me down the road. You, stop. Huh, she is being cagey. We'll force the issue. You, I need to speak to you. Whoa. He did it again. Fleet's journal. The Embrace spoke today. It has made clear its intent to enforce its otherworldly laws of balance. It is at once a sanctuary and a prison. My brother slams his fists ever more loudly at its ethereal doors. I can feel the increasing pressure of his demand to be released, and yet I resist. I tell myself there is too much of importance to be done, that I am needed here, but I know this is not true. I resist him out of nothing but fear. Fear of what he will do in this world, and fear for those I care about. The world has been spared the darkness of Cimmerian for more than 2 years. And now he returns, and I confess that I have no idea what he will do. Today, he helped me. He helped me from beyond. But what will he do when our roles are reversed? Even greater than my fear for the world is my own pathetic fear of being alone. The Embrace is desolate. Time stops. The world is lifeless. What will I do without even the dark countenance of my brother to keep me company? I fear the loneliness. I fear the oppressive silence. It was absolute darkness that created me, and now I must return. Well, it is time for us to depart, make our way back to Whiterun. While we do so, I thought this would be a great time for us to talk a little bit more about the Embrace, what we understand of it. So let's do that. Gonna make our way back out to the road here. Now, in episode 104, we talked a little bit about the Embrace. Mostly what we discussed was its origins, I guess. Who is this? We discussed how it was a gift from Valeria. Valeria, of course, being Fleet's biological mother. And we talked about how it sort of leveled the playing field. So just practically speaking, if you've got two entities, each with a separate soul that share the same body, it is virtually impossible for them to meet in person. And as any mother, she doesn't want to see her quote-unquote children fight. So the Embrace becomes kind of an otherworldly place where the two of them can meet face to face in the hopes that they might work out their differences or come to understand each other better. And I use the quote-unquote children because Cimmerian isn't really what we would refer to as a biological child of Valeria. Valeria gave birth to Fleet, and through the course of his life and all the things that have happened to him, Fleet developed essentially what is like a multiple personality on steroids, to the point where this other personality became an entity unto itself and now exists unto itself as if it were a brother. And Cimmerian, running animals, bad sign. Cimmerian constantly refers to Empyrean as brother. Constantly. And sometimes you see the reverse. But we sort of get the impression that Fleet, Empyrean, the man who was Fleet, is still trying to come to terms with all this and hasn't gotten to the point yet where he is willing to refer to this other entity, Cimmerian, as a brother. So, the Embrace is a strange thing. They can invoke it, and they can choose to go there together and talk. But once one of them goes out into Mundus, goes out into the real world, the other is left in the Embrace. And we don't understand completely how the mechanics of all of this works, but we do understand from what we've seen so far is that one of them can only be in the vessel at a time, which means one of them can only be on Mundus, influencing events in Mundus at a time. And while one is there, the other is inside the Embrace, and at some point a transfer takes place where the soul changes and the other brother takes control of the vessel, and they vacillate back and forth. Now, from what we've seen in the past, it seems as though the duration of one's time in the vessel can be impacted by events.
All right. Hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish.
Really? How about you walk away and stay alive?
Well, I can see you're not one to be trifled with. Let this be a warning to you.
Move along. So there's really no hard and fast rule to say an entity is allowed to reside inside the vessel for X number of days or X number of hours. It really doesn't work that way. It is impacted by events. It's impacted by stress. And the transference is something that can be initiated by each brother. But as the entity occupying the vessel becomes weaker, the veil between Mundus and the Embrace becomes thinner. And what we saw in that last cutscene was Cimmerian making a reference to how his brother was growing weaker. And the weaker he became, the more Cimmerian was able to impact events in the real world, the more that he was able to hear his brother's thoughts and see what was going on, right? Immediately when the transference takes place, whatever brother is in control, presumably, is at full power and is able to completely shield his mind from the other's influence. But I think it makes sense that over the course of time, that resolve weakens as the body weakens until eventually the transference comes on like an inexorable tide. It can't be avoided. And the transference happens and they switch places. So that's what we know of it right now, based on what we've seen to this point, what we've heard to this point. There will be many more details coming out about the nuance of how the Embrace works. But just mechanically speaking, the way that this is going to work in storytelling is that we are going to be getting the story from both sides. So from Cimmerian's point of view, we'll be getting the story from Empyrean's point of view, and we'll be kind of vacillating back and forth. But we're also going to get perspective on the story from inside the Embrace and outside the Embrace. So there will be times when we will be doing things inside the Embrace that affect the story, which I think could be really interesting. And I'm using a combination of console commands and post-production effects to create the Embrace. So I've kind of set myself up here. I've got a situation in which it is completely possible. It's entirely possible for us to travel the length and breadth of Skyrim completely inside the Embrace and have adventures inside that environment. And there are some rules inside that environment. Cimmerian understands what these rules are. He's been inside of or involved in the Embrace for quite some time now. And when we saw the emergence of Cimmerian into the story as sometimes nothing more than an alternate personality or a disembodied voice or an idea in Fleet's head, this is an entity who was growing and becoming more powerful. And the time that he spent influencing Fleet, he was essentially living in this kind of strange interdimensional subconscious state we call the Embrace. When he wasn't around pestering Fleet, that's where he was. And so we sort of we're getting the impression here that Valeria was extremely powerful. And she commandeered this space, took this space and changed change Cimmerian's space into a place that Fleet could go also. Yeah, this is kind of how I think about all this stuff as it comes together in my head. There's the technical piece of it. The mechanics, you know, of how do we make it work in game and make it convincing. I've got most of that worked out. There's still a few things that I'm working on. Certainly nothing set in stone yet. But for the most part, I figured out how I would go about producing these episodes, and how the mechanics of it all work. I think the more interesting idea is how it fits into the story. From the story perspective, what is its function and how does it work? When is it kicked off, and when are changes made? What does a transference look like? What are the brothers able to do to influence Mundus from inside the Embrace? And when are they able to do it? So one of the things that obviously we're able to gather from the cutscene is that it was possible. It was possible for Cimmerian to impact the real world, to impact Mundus from inside the Embrace. Now, that's not supposed to be possible, as it was explained previously. But what we also have come to understand based on that interaction is that this is something that becomes easier and easier to do the longer Empyrean resists. As soon as Empyrean goes to Mundus, takes over the vessel, the clock starts ticking. And eventually, Cimmerian is going to have his turn, and they're going to switch back and forth. Now, just by sheer force of will, one brother can try to stop the transference from happening just by sheer will. Imagine, for example, that I think of it similar as, you know, trying to stay awake for a long period of time. You can do it, but the longer you do it, the harder it gets, and the longer you do it, the more you start messing up, to the point where eventually you get to that point where you simply can't stay awake anymore. Your body starts shutting down. Your mind starts doing crazy things, right? And that's essentially what this is, I think. It's akin to that. So, Empyrean right now knows that the transfer is coming, and he's trying to put it off. But the longer he puts it off, the harder it becomes. Just like losing sleep. And of course, we have this other entity, Cimmerian, who's itching to get across to Mundus. He's got his own agenda. He wants to get here. He wants to figure out what's going on. He's got his own agenda. And the longer Empyrean puts him off, the more angry he becomes, the more frustrated he becomes. Because even to an enigmatic entity like Cimmerian, he sees this as an issue of fairness. The Embrace was created with this idea of fairness in mind. They each get a shot. And his brother is denying him his shot, which to him is unacceptable.
200 gold if you want to use our road.
How about you let me through and I don't kill you?
Now that I think of it, that sounds fair. Just shove off before the others notice.
I will give you fair warning. You've stopped me twice here. The next time, everybody dies. That's a promise. So that's what I know about the Embrace right now. The sequences are really fun to put together. I'm trying to come up with, interesting ways to do it. Now, there's a difference between a full Embrace type of experience and the Veiled experience. Earlier, we saw an argument between the two brothers. That was a full Embrace type of experience. They were both there. They were having a conversation. Whereas the last cutscene we saw, that was kind of Cimmerian peering through the veil as the veil was beginning to weaken. We saw Cimmerian kind of beyond Mundus in the Embrace, influencing what was going on here. And the effects that I'm using in that particular case are really designed to make it feel as though you're looking at the real world through kind of a thin veil of ethereal fabric, where you can almost see the separation between the two worlds, and it almost feels like you could put your hand through it. And that's what I'm trying to create there. And the full Embrace experience I'm creating through console commands. The Veiled Embrace experience is a combination of console commands and post-production effects. So that's how that works. Everything you never wanted to know about the Embrace. Alright, we are on our way back to Jorrvaskr. We are going to report back to Skior and tell him of our success. However, the means by which we found this criminal we will not reveal to anyone, as it would probably scare the crap out of them. But in this way, we can start to see a little bit more how Empyrean's argument for them to be working together toward a common goal makes sense, and how it might actually work in a practical sense. Right? Clearly, we can also see the difference between the two brothers, one being a man of action and the other a man of faith. Cimmerian's faith is absolute. Absolute. But also, I would say his weakness is that his faith, his interpretation of his faith, can be quite literal as well. And what his brother is trying to convince him of is that a literal interpretation of his faith, the will of Sithis at this point, is not helping. And that the tools that they need to defeat their enemy are here for the taking. In fact, they're already using them. And with some intent and some awareness, they could increase their effectiveness. But Cimmerian's got a very interesting interpretation of how the world works, and it's all based on his absolute faith in the will of Sithis. We are back. That didn't seem like such a long trip, especially when you're having a lovely conversation with your dear viewers. Thank you all for keeping me company. Well, let's go see what Skior has to say. He was pretty no-nonsense about this job in the first place. His idea was just kill him. It's easier that way. There he is.
You still need to prove yourself, whelp.
I am working on that, if you hadn't noticed. That criminal won't be a problem anymore.
Bit by bit, we bring honor to this land, and you've brought honor to the companions. More importantly, some gold.
Yes. Do you have any more jobs?
Yes, I have something special for you. But it's not for everyone to hear. Meet me in the Underforge tonight. We will speak more.
Where is this Underforge?
I forget that you've never seen it. Beneath the Skyforge, where Jorland works. The door is hidden, but I will show you the way.
You will show me the way. Yes, I bring honor to the companions. Slaughtering a woman in the road. Honorable indeed. I am quite proud, must say. I must also say this is, in all honesty, a very comfortable clubhouse. Sweet roll. Some wine. Apple. Farkas, how are you?
Skjor says that I have the strength of Ysgramor, and my brother has his smarts.
Really? My money would be on you any day. Why did you join the Companions?
Vilkas and I have been here since we were little whelps. Our father Jurgen raised us here. Even Vigner couldn't remember companions younger than us.
What does it mean to you to be a companion?
I've never been a smart one, but the companions welcome anyone with the heart of a warrior. When we step into battle, we fight for our own name and the name of the companions. All right then.
Yes. The ultimate ideal is to have no ideals, right? That would make the companions not unlike the street gangs you might find in the Imperial City.
I've heard you may actually be stronger than you look. Perhaps we can hunt together someday.
Are we going to do this or not? You keep talking about it. Vilkas. Very well, dummy. It's time for you and I to go a few rounds. I nearly slew that brazier. That's enough. This Underforge is over here somewhere, is that correct? That could be it. Yes, this is the place. Artistry. Hello there.
Got a lot of steel to shape.
I don't doubt it. I was told you have a weapon for me.
Yes, lad. You've been raised into the companions, I hear. I can fashion whatever kind of weapon you want. Finest forge in Skyrim, right here before you.
Really? Well, I've always favored the sword. Perhaps a sword.
A blade? It will be as sharp as Fralia's tongue.
Excellent. I thank you, sir. All right. I couldn't snub the gift. I doubt that I'll use it. But denying the gift of someone like Jorland seems foolish. Very well. Let us go see what the merchants have today.
Just about everybody in here. Give a holler if you have any questions. Everything's for sale, my friend. Trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing.
Well, let us see what we have that we can get rid of. I would surely like to get rid of this. And this. Wonder if the mage would like these. I imagine he would.
Do come back.
It is liberating to get rid of junk. Alright, let's have a quick look at the time.
What are you looking at? I'm not afraid of you, you know, even if you are my elder.
She reminds me of someone. Another girl I know.
By the great Eorlan, Greymane himself.
You tried mercenary work? It might suit you.
One of the things you'll notice about Fleet is he doesn't interact with people a lot. He blows off a lot of idle chatter and tends to ignore people a lot of times.
They'll get what's coming to them.
I think there's multiple reasons for this. One is that he's kind of an insanely private person. The other is that he comes from a noble background, and despite everything he's been through, there's still a hint of arrogance in the man. I mean, he truly does believe that he is better than everyone else. Now, it's less pronounced than it used to be when he was younger.
Come to Dragons. It seems this damnable conflict has claimed everyone's passions of late. Me, I prefer my books and my spells. Take a look.
All right. Jeez. He has got squat. Well, we can always use a Grand Soul Gem, so let's buy a Grand Soul Gem from him. And then we can get rid of these things to make our money back, right? Scrolls. We don't use them very much.
You know, if you've got the aptitude, you should join the Mages College in Winterhold.
I think what we've seen is in Act 1 we saw a character who was extremely arrogant and self-centered. And he has evolved, I think, into someone who's still got that hint of arrogance about him, but...
Yesterday I saw a dragon fly right over the city, headed northeast, towards Sheer by the looks of it.
Mostly now, it's about confidence. He's extremely confident in his abilities.
I mostly deal with petty thievery and drunken brawls.
And that probably comes off as arrogance, I would imagine. But let's not kid ourselves. I mean, he was born and raised a noble. And that just doesn't go away overnight. Now, he's been humbled many times. Humbled many times and in many different ways. And he has insecurities, as we've seen. He has fear. He has a lot of fear. He's human.
I never thought they would actually let me join the companions. But now it looks like they're letting anyone in these days.
I assume that's an insult. I'll let it go this time. All right, let's get a little bit of rest. Not too much, because we got to meet Skiora later. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get a cool 4 hours of sleep. That'll help. Fleet's journal. Nothing could have prepared me for what I beheld in that cavern. To hear of the wolf blood is one thing, but to actually see it is quite another. The beast I saw in that cavern was purported to be Aella. Skior seemed to think I should recognize her, but to my eyes there was no trace of her in that cave.
Are you prepared? I would hope you recognize Aella, even in this form.
I was told that she would be my forebearer, and that it would be a great honor.
He thinks we've been cursed. We've been blessed. How can something that gives this kind of prowess be a curse?
This is twisted.
To reach the heights of the companions, you must join with us in the shared blood of the wolf.
He said that in order to rise to the circle, I must take the wolf blood.
Are you prepared to join your spirit with the beast world, friend?
What if I did not care to risk my spirit for this power? If I were to join the circle now, I would clearly set a record as the whelp to enter the circle faster than any other in recorded history. I can only assume this is because of who I am. I came into this organization expecting to be banished if discovered, but find myself being raised at a pace nothing short of meteoric. After everything that has happened, how could I take the blood? I toiled for so long to avoid exactly this situation, but is this not what the Heart of Smoke is for? In the end, I rejected the offer. Once again, I thumbed my nose at power when it was presented to me. But it was not just about the spiritual connotations of the choice. There was something wrong with Skior's eagerness. My gut has sent me a warning about this man, and I have learned above all to trust my instincts. In the end, he acted as if he were resigned to my choice, but promptly sent me on a mission to Falkreath to deal with a former companion called Sinding. I'm expecting the worst. This job has punishment written all over it. Aella, we must move quickly, so I'm acting unilaterally. Farkas' story confirms what I suspected. The whelp is the Dragonborn, and judging by the word of our trusted shield brother, he is more than formidable. We cannot afford to allow him to leave the companions. His sword and reputation could make all the difference in our fight with the Silverhand. It is dishonorable, I know, but if I must resort to trickery, I will do so for the sake of our brothers and sisters. I am sending him south to Falkreath to deal with our old friend, Sinding. The wolf blood always ran stronger in Sinding than the rest of us. How pathetic he could never grasp control of it. Sinding is as rabid as they come, and will only take one scratch to make the bond. You and I both know he will not go down without a savage fight. I take full responsibility for this deception, but it is necessary. Perhaps we can finally rid ourselves of Sinding's taint, while also gaining a formidable new member of the Circle. Can you imagine the power of the Dragonborn bonded with the alpha blood of Sinding as his forebearer? Keep this quiet. We both know what could happen if this deception were discovered. Skior. Haldir. I haven't much time to write letters these days. Nevertheless, I wanted to thank you for having my horse sent to Whiterun. It is obvious that my identity as Dragonborn has been fully revealed within the walls of Jorrvaskr, so there is no harm in dropping the disguise. It seems I'm a bit of a sore thumb. I owe you a great debt. The sacrifices that you all have made for me over the last few years have been great. The mantle of the Dragonborn is heavy, and I feel I have done little to make the world a better place. a fact I hope to change with your help. Though Skyrim is not my native land, I feel a great sense of responsibility for what is happening here and how these events may impact the rest of Tamriel. I must warn you, I feel the rapid approach of the transference. With each moment, my brother grows in power, and I am certain it will be only a matter of days before he takes my place. I have done all I can to forestall this, but I am so tired, and I regret that I will not be able to hold him off much longer. I have spent much time with Cimmerian in recent years, but he remains an enigma. He can be thoughtful, almost considerate, and at other times, driven by a zeal so frightening he poisons the very atmosphere with his venom. Be vigilant. I have learned how to deal with him over these many years, but even I have difficulty. Do not attempt to apply any human reasoning to anything he says or does. He values one thing and one thing only, the will of Sithis. He will say or do anything he feels is in the best interest of a cause none of us could fathom. Above all, do not attribute mortal traits to Cimmerian. If there is one thing I have come to understand, it is that he is not human. Fleet. We are back on the trail again. Okay, so we are off to Falkreath to do another mission. This has been assigned to us specifically by Skior. Oh, bear ahead. Let's be ready. Spiders. Let's give them the business. Come, spider. Boom. Ooh, I love that combo. Now, there was a little fanfare with some horse whinnying and stuff like that that happened just before we reached Riverwood. That was the indication that the horse has actually gone up a level. I've got it set right now so that I'm kind of constantly training the horse. So whenever the horse goes up a level, we get to make some investments in speed, stamina, or strength. I love mounted combat. Who's gonna bury me now? Ah, I see you.
Prepared to die.
Well, let's not make it easy for them. Where's your friend? Yeah!
So much easier.
Oh, didn't connect with a follow-up there. Gotcha. Hey, friend, the coast is clear. So anyway, Skior. Skior is sending us on a mission to Falkreath to deal with a former companion member named Sinding. Apparently, Sinding has been incarcerated in Falkreath. And we're supposed to go and find out what the situation is and use our best judgment in dealing with it. Now, of course, that's what Fleet is up to. But we, you and I, dear viewers, we know that Skior has a secret plan, a plan of deception. So it would seem that Fleet's rejection of the wolf blood is not acceptable to Skior, and he has come up with a plan to try and get Fleet infected one way or another. And what we can gather from his letter to Aella is that Sinding apparently is a werewolf of considerable strength, but does not possess the ability to control it. He refers to Sinding as Alpha and says that he's extremely powerful. So his theory is put Fleet into a situation where he might potentially get infected by Sinding, unbeknownst to him. And then once the infection has taken hold, what choice will Fleet have but to come back to the companions and ask for help in figuring out how to deal with it? It's just a shifty way, I guess, of binding Fleet to the companions. And what we can gather from the letter is that Skior's motivation for doing this is, it would seem that he must be of the mind that the Silver Hand is a bigger threat than he had originally anticipated. A big enough threat that he's willing to attempt this caper in an effort to get the Dragonborn bound to the companions so that they can get his help, so they can be assured of his help throughout the conflict. Now that's really interesting, right? Skior is making a unilateral decision to do this, but it also is an indication that Skior, perhaps, like Fleet, knows that there's something more to the Silver Hand, that the Silver Hand simply aren't what they seem.
For a dragon to attack Kynesgrove. Why? Why there? Is no place safe?
The god Arche was once like us, bound to winding mortality. But he willingly gave up this existence that we might better understand the vagaries of life and death. It is through the ebb and flow of this cosmic tide that we find renewal, and in the end, peace. May the spirit of Lavinia and all those who have left this world and its suffering know the beloved serenity of Aetherius. And may we one day rejoin them in eternity.
Kust is responsible for the cemetery here in Falkreath. I take care of the shrine.
You're a priest of Arche?
I am. I came into Arche's light after the Great War. So many died by my hands, my magics. I'm fortunate that Kust and the people of Falkreath have come to accept me as one of their own. Could you do an old elf a favor? I misplaced my journal in a cave I was exploring. I'll pay for its return.
I regret that I can't help you at the moment.
Very well.
Listen, you tend the graveyard alone, is that correct?
Oh, merciful Arcane, no. I'm too old and frail, and this graveyard is too large. Kust is my assistant. He helps me tend the headstones and keep our cemetery clean, as befits a place of rest.
Very well.
Life is far too short, my friend. Don't waste it.
You don't have to tell me.
These graves hold the sons and daughters of Falkreath. Show respect while you're here, and you and I will be fine.
A sad time.
Yes. Who died?
Our daughter. Our little girl. She hadn't seen her 10th winter.
I hate to ask, but how did this happen?
He ripped her apart. Like a saber cat tears a deer. We barely found enough of her to bury.
Who? Was it Sinding?
Sinding. Came through as a laborer. Seemed like a decent man. He's stewing in the pit while we figure out what to do with him. If you've got the stomach to look at him. What could drive a man to do something like this?
Oh, I
just don't understand.
I think I know. "10 years old. Well, let us go speak to Sinding and see what he has to say. He has given me the unfortunate task having to potentially execute this man. I am to render judgment. Who am I to judge? Stands to reason I have more blood on my hands than anyone else here. This must be him here.
I'd be a lot warmer and a lot happier with a belly full of mead.
Are you Sinding?
Come to gawk at the monster?
I understand you attacked a little girl.
Believe me, it wasn't anything I ever intended to do. I just lost control. I tried to tell them, but none of them believed me. It's all on account of this blasted ring.
What ring?
This is the Ring of Hersing. I was told it could let me control my transformations. Perhaps it used to, but I'll never know. Hersing didn't care for my taking it, and threw a curse on it. I put it on, and the changes just came to me. I could never guess when. It would be at the worst times. Like with the little girl.
What kind of transformations?
I don't suppose there's a point in keeping the secret if I'm going to die in here anyway. I'm sure you've heard of men who shift to beasts under the influence of the moons. I am one of them. A werewolf. It's my secret, and my shame. That's why I wanted the ring. It was said to give men like me control. Now, I may look like a man, but I still feel the animal inside of me as strong as ever.
I understand. Why did this make you attack the little girl? How have you not been able to control it and others can?
I had just come into Falkreath. They needed some help work in the mill, and I thought that would be something safe, something I could do. When I saw the little girl, I could feel it coming on. I could taste it. I needed to hunt, but this pitiful, limited body wasn't meant for hunting. Slow, no claws. Weak, mashing teeth for chewing cud. I held in my rage as long as I could, but it boiled inside of me. She looked so fragile, helpless prey, and then I feel terrible about what happened, about what I did. It would probably be best for everyone if I just went away.
I am not arguing with that. So, what do you do now? Is there repentance for you? Is there salvation of some kind?
I've been looking for a way to appease Hersing. There is a certain beast in these lands. Large, majestic. It's said that Hersing will commune with whoever slays it. I tracked it into these woods, but then I had my accident with the child. I want to beg his forgiveness. Give him back the ring. But while I'm stuck in here, the beast wanders free.
You are not the only one who struggles with this. I see others. You are locked in here. This is where you belong. Let me take the ring to Hersing.
Oh my. You would do this for me? Here, take it. I don't want anything to do with this wretched thing anymore. Seek out the beast. He wanders these woods. Bring him down and... Now the Lord of the Hunt should smile on you. I wish you luck. But you leave here while I still have my skin. Should our paths cross again, I will remember your kindness. Farewell.
It is not my place to judge Sinding. He may have been a companion once, but he is no more. It falls to the people of Falkreath to pass judgment on him. But if there's something I can do to lift a curse, some entrapment with Hersing, then I should try. Perhaps this is information I can use to help Codlike as well. Ah, bandits. A favorite haunt. What is it? The night feels strange. Well done, Fleet. Seem you haven't lost your touch yet. The air feels thick, the atmosphere heavy. I have felt this before. Felt it in the presence of a Daedric. Hircine knows the game. It would seem he's waiting. The creature. Why must it die? Because it too is pawn to a sick Daedric prince. Let us make it quick, through the heart. Beast.
Well met, Hunter.
Indeed. You are Hircine, I presume?
I am the spirit of the hunt. Just one glimpse of the glorious stalker that your kind calls Hircine.
Very well. I would ask that you remove the curse from this ring.
I may consider it, but you must first do a service for my glory. The one who stole it has fled to what he thinks is his sanctuary. Just as a bear climbs a tree to escape the hunt, but only ends up trapping himself. Seek out this rogue shifter, tear the skin from his body, and make it an offering to me.
It is not my place to judge him. It is his fate to be judged by the people of Falkreath.
There is no retribution in the hunt. It is not vengeance I seek, but the blood course of a living hunt. There are others who would gladly accept my favor. They will hunt him while you delay. Your choice.
Very well. Very well.
Brother. You are weakening, my brother. Give me authority and take your rest. I assure you, it is much less painful to give me authority willingly than if I take it by force.
I will see this through.
How very noble of you. But with each moment your resolve weakens. My arrival is as unstoppable as the tides. Your fight is pointless.
Leave me, brother. I haven't the time for your manipulations.
Answer me this, brother. Why do you spurn the wolf blood? You are offered power.
It is not power. It is a disease. I'm surprised to hear this coming from the one who rejects the power of the vampire.
The vampire sickness is a transgression against the Dreadfather. It is heresy.
Is that not what the beast blood is? Am I to give my soul over to Hircine for the promise of power?
Brother, you forget we are protected by the Heart of Smoke. Our souls are inviolate.
You seem very sure in all of this.
Speaking with surety is the parlance of the faithful, my brother. I cleave to Sithis for strength. You are a floundering and rudderless ship, holding to nothing but hopes and dreams. Your mind is slipping. Give me authority and take your rest.
You will take control when I am ready and not a moment before.
Very well, brother. We shall speak again soon. Very soon.
I must not delay. My brother's appearance is imminent. I have to at least finish this before he comes. There's no way to know what he would do. This will help. Come, Astrid. fast as you can go, girl. He's here. I can sense it. Must be careful.
Has the Blood Moon called you, fellow hunter?
What happened?
The prey is strong, stronger than the hunters. But more will come. Bring him down for the glories of Lord Hircine.
Slaughter. He is here. I can feel it. Sinding! Sinding! Sinding.
Why?
It needn't end like this. I have spoken to Hircine. I hunted the beast. We may be able to fix the ring. Perhaps it will help you control it. Control the transformations, but you'll still have to account for what you've done.
Never thought I'd see you again.
Well, you might be interested to know I've been instructed to kill you.
And I would deserve it, wouldn't I? I can't stop you if that's what you want to do. Conversing is too powerful. But if you spare me, I can be a powerful ally to you. And I would promise to never return to civilized life. I know now that I can't live among people.
Damn it. What have you done, brother? Come on, where is he? There he is.
Guess that's all clear.
Sinding, no! Oh. He's not gonna stop. He is absolutely feral.
Guess that's all clear now. Let's
Stop.
finish this.
Stop! Ah.
Go down, bastard.
No! Did you honestly believe that you would be able to save him? What has happened to you, brother? Have you become an idealist? Your time is up, brother. Now I take what is mine. You waited too long. Resisted too much, brother. Now, you are powerless, and the pain is exquisite. You will suffer the pain for hours, and for what? An hour or two of authority? Next time, you will give it willingly, and spare yourself this torment. Spare me your gloating. I do not gloat, brother. I state the facts as they are. You are foolish. You act as if your defiance is honorable, when in fact all you do is spit on Valeria's gift and her memory. Do not speak of my mother. Our mother, Empyrean. Our mother. I suggest you not waste your time here at leisure. I think you will discover, as I have, that time spent in the embrace can be most useful.
Thank you once again, dear viewers, for watching another CouchWarrior TV story experience. May all that you do be swift, silent, and deadly, and to all Skyrim assassins, I salute you. Silence is our battle cry. You have been watching Featherstone, an Airness Arcana story. For more information, character development podcasts, weekly Patreon live streams, silent battle cry gear, and more. Visit CouchWarrior TV on the web at www.charactercrusade.com. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss a single episode. I'll see you next time.